I'm certainly not seeing a lack of appetite. In fact, as you know, the price was announced at 7 o'clock this morning, and I can tell you now that by 11:30 we had the book covered. So we've had enough bids already from institutional investors to support the IPO, so we're not seeing a lack of appetite at all.
Wow, and you're only just starting the roadshows?
We're one day into a 2-week roadshow, yes.
Right. What sort of decisions went into pricing the shares on this particular range? What sort of factors have been involved?
Well, ultimately it's Lloyd's shares, and Lloyd's choose what price to set those shares at. It's Lloyd's responsibility to sell those shares. But I think, what I'm seeing from investors is a really clear understanding that TSB has been created to bring more competition to UK banking, that we are delivering on that growth. We are going to grow into our footprint. We have 160 more branches that we launched across the UK last summer. So 630 branches in total. 160 of those have never provided current accounts before. As we grow into those branches, we see our scale increasing. Suddenly, we start providing mortgages to mortgage brokers.
Right.
Again, that enables us to grow.
Now, the profitability that you've outlined today, the bank made a profit of £31 million last year. That doesn't sound an awful lot for a bank with a balance sheet of £21 billion.
Yeah, two factors. First of all, reading the prospectus and looking at last year's figures is not a good guide to what we're doing in the future. There's all sorts of vagaries around the way in which the financials have to be prepared, which reflected TSB as part of Lloyd's. The numbers will be very different when TSB is separated from Lloyd's. That said, our profitability is currently relatively low because we are built for growth, and we intend to grow. We're growing into those new branches, we're growing by bringing mortgages to mortgage brokers, and we're growing by improving our digital capability. All of that growth means we are investing every penny that we make back in the business. That's reflected in our share price, and that's reflected in the long-term appetite we have for investors in this business.
All right. So you've said you're not going to pay a dividend until 2017. Do you think that's going to deter retail investors from buying shares in the new TSB?
For me, it's important that retail investors understand what they're buying into should they choose to buy into these shares. What they are buying into is a bank that will not pay a dividend or is unlikely to pay a dividend until the end of 2017, but a bank that will grow, and therefore we would hope to see the capital value increase over time. But of course, like any share, retail investors should not invest in this business unless they're willing to invest for the medium term. That's why we put in place the sort of 5% loyalty offer after a year, to reflect to customers this is not about buying shares and trying to flip them after 15 minutes. This is buying shares into a medium-term growth plan.